Hello, this is Paul Frazier again, and I have my friends Aimee Coplan with me and Carrie Barath, and we're going to let Aimee tell about how she got interested in the whole idea of Bigfoot, and we'll just kind of work our way into how we got to know each other, and then talk about some of her and Carrie's recent adventures. So go ahead and share whatever you want, Aimee, about how you got interested.
Well, I've been interested in Bigfoot for pretty much all my life, since I was a young kid and would watch whatever I could find on TV or read. And then I really got interested when the internet came out and realized that there was actually Sasquatch in Ohio.
Yeah.
I searched on, I guess it was a Google search, and I said, "This is Bigfoot." And the first thing that came up was the BFRO site, and it said click on a state. So I clicked on Ohio, and sure enough, all the counties came up, and I about fell out of my chair actually. So that's how I really got into Bigfoot. I started, I think my first like event that I participated or went to was probably the the Ohio's Bigfoot conference out in on Salt Fork. I also attended, at the time, Cabela's would have a free event, and so I could attended there a couple years and
Is that
went
in Wheeling?
to, yes,
Yeah.
yeah, it's in
Yeah.
Philadelphia. Went to a couple of they had Salt Fork would have a Bigfoot adventure weekend. It was actually a private event, but it was held in the group camp, and that was my first taste of the group camp.
Hmm.
And it was probably, I would say there was anywhere between 35 and 50 people there. That's how I got started.
Hmm. And then you have your own Facebook group. I'm going to go ahead and pull that up,
Have my own Facebook group,
which is how we met after I joined her group.
right?
I'm working on it here.
That's okay.
Let's see. I didn't have this problem last time. I don't know what's going on tonight. Having a lot of technical issues. I think I need to do it like this.
There
There
it
we
is.
go. Okay. And this is her group, the Monroe County Bigfoot Enthusiasts.
Mhm.
And I mentioned in the last show we did how I had recorded a howl, and I posted in several Bigfoot groups, and Aimee happened to be in one of those groups, and she just sent me a message and said, "Hey, would you mind sharing that in my group?" And I said, "Sure," and I ended up
Right.
joining, and she has these group campouts at Salt Fork, and I attended one of those in April of 2022. That was the first time we met, and there's this picture of her dogs. I don't know where that's
Yeah.
at, but might be an
Mhm.
undisclosed location. I don't know.
It's really not undisclosed. It's a little road that I take them to. It's called Pratt's Run, and I take them there because there's so little traffic. I've never really had any kind of activity there or anything, but I could definitely see where there would be, possibility of one moving through there or whatever.
Yeah, you never
It's a
know.
beautiful road. Yeah, it's a beautiful road, and so yeah, that's we
Looks
go
like
there
a
a lot.
nice place to walk. Definitely.
It is. It is.
There's another.
And then I believe that this is probably
That's
on my
Sweetie, isn't it?
husband's property. That's Sweetie,
Yeah, so I
and I
thought.
believe that's on my husband's property. I'm not sure where, but yeah.
Okay. This I pulled up off of your site. You posted. It said it was an interesting story, so I was going to see if you wanted to share. To me, it looks like a pretty young bear. That must be like roadkill, I'm guessing, but I don't know.
I
You know the
have
story, don't
no
you?
idea. I do not. I
You said it
don't
was like 20
recall.
miles from Woodsfield in the
Okay. Did
post.
I post?
Yeah,
Okay. Is it an old post? Because
yeah. It's
I
from,
don't recall this.
well, it's from this year, but yeah, it was quite a while
Huh.
back. Okay, I didn't know
Okay.
if you said it was an interesting story, so I was curious to hear what it was, but you may
Yeah.
not
Me
remember.
too. Me
But you said it
too.
was like
No,
20
I don't
miles from
remember.
where you live, where this
Okay.
picture was.
Okay. I'm gonna have to look that up. And there's our group camp.
Yeah, this is the
Yep.
primitive camp where we have all our fun at.
Right.
And I don't know if you guys knew it, but Amie actually built her own cabin out in the woods, built it herself. And even though she
Yeah.
has this nice cabin, she still chooses to rough it with us in her. This is her tent right here.
Yeah. My van.
Yeah.
My ever
Actually,
loving
she got a
van.
pretty nice setup. I mean, she's got a nice, like a wooden bed frame in there. I peeked in there and saw it. She's got a nice setup. Can have heat in there in the winter, and the only bad thing
Yeah.
is you have a hard time hearing what's going on around you outside. So other than
Exactly.
that,
Yeah. Yeah, I've missed a lot of action because of that. Don't like that much, that part, but
but
the
you
rest
know
of
what
it
you
is
need to do?
pretty accommodating.
You know what
What's
you need to
that?
do? You need to get a baby monitor and
Oh, you've actually, yeah.
set that
You've mentioned
outside
that
so you can hear
before.
what's going on. Set
Yeah,
it
you've
underneath your
mentioned that
van or something.
before.
Yeah.
Right.
And this is at the camp. Hard telling what time of year this was. I think this actually might have been July, I think. Because I think that's my two canopies I brought. I
Oh,
think. Because
okay.
I think that that's Teresa and Sandra's tent, the green and light colored tent, isn't it?
Right. I think it is. I think that's
And
their
I think
car.
that's John or Tommy's car there, isn't it? Or is that? It might be. I don't know. He slept in his car. I
I'm
remember.
not sure.
That might
Right.
be Teresa and Sandra's car. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. I was going to say that tent, that was mine. If that was, I think that's the
Oh,
April camp out.
oh, okay. Yeah.
That's the April camp out. You are on up further.
I was where
Yeah, I think
Joel
that's the
normally
April.
is.
Right, right.
Yeah,
I
I
think
took
that's
Joel's
the
spot.
April camp out. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then this is my new tent, the orange one on the right.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then on the left is Eric's tent, and I think that's Carrie's car sticking out right there.
It's my
And
Okay.
tent. My tent.
That was
yep,
Carrie's tent for the night.
this is from April, and
Right.
I mentioned on the last show where I look like Andre the Giant here next to everybody because I'm closer to the camera. I was saying how easy it can be to hoax a picture. You get somebody in the suit, and you can make them look a lot bigger than they are just by having them a little bit closer to the camera. So
I remember that.
this is in April at Morgan's Knob, and this was in July, the last day. Remember, I actually had to use a video. I couldn't get my uh, timer to work, so I used my video and took a video clip from it from my gimbal I had. And this was from September when I wasn't there. Usually, Carrie's pretty good at sneaking those little selfie shots where got everybody in the background. You don't know she did it, but at least you guys saw it coming that time.
Right. This is the this is the camp out we did with just the four of us, isn't it, Carrie?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, Tommy was there for a while, I think, but wasn't he?
I don't
No.
think so. Not at that camp out.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe that was the end of the camp out and we were just the last ones left.
Yeah, I think I'm not. I can't remember. They all
Okay.
blend
I
together
thought he
Yep,
now.
Mr.
was there when he
Tommy.
found the prints that he was
Yeah, that's when
there.
we
Yeah,
found the prints.
right.
Oh, I pulled this up to mention. This is from actually from YouTube. Uh, those of us in Ohio are blessed to have a lot of, well, like she said, uh, on the BFRO, I think we are number 4 in all the states as far as most sightings. And that's just what's reported. You know, they estimate it's a pretty low number that's actually reported. But anyway, the ODNR, Ohio Department of Natural Resources, has done a webinar series on Bigfoot with John Hickenbottom doing several of the videos. And so I just brought this up. This is their actual official YouTube channel, the ODNR YouTube channel, and they have a whole series on Bigfoot. So in Salt Fork, that's one of the things we're very blessed about is that they're very supportive of Bigfoot and the research and things like that. They're one of the things I really like about it is we can go there and run around the camp or run around the park all night and not be bothered by the police wanting to know what we're doing at 3 in the morning, driving around or walking around. They don't question it. I mean, they're used to it, I guess. So it's nice to have that support. And here's John Hickenbottom with
Right.
showing some Sasquatch evidence. Sure, he could probably tell a lot of interesting stories of things he's heard around the park there. And then he
Right.
actually came out to visit you guys, take a little hike. I wasn't there, but I think that was in September, wasn't it?
I would say it was in September or October, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
And now he's come over to the dark side. He's actually got a tattoo and everything. There he is, walking around with you guys. He went down the Buckeye Trail, I guess.
Mhm.
So, let me get us back. Here we go. Wrong one. There we go. Uh, I got some more pictures I can pull up, but I don't know if you want to talk about anything that we just showed there, like with John or any of that.
Well, I just think that John is a healthy skeptic, and I'm glad that I think we're starting to build a rapport with John.
Well,
Uh,
didn't you say they're building a new like a nature center that's going to have a Bigfoot theme to it
yeah,
at
yes,
Southport?
they most definitely are.
Yeah.
They broke ground for it, and they are, yeah, they're actually. I think that they're going to have like a life-size Bigfoot that's actually being created by the same guy that created the one for Cliff's
Oh,
Barath
really?
Museum.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That'll be good.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
taking it pretty seriously. And then, like a lot of new places, they're going to have like stations where you can hear about, a certain wildlife or what have you. And actually, Sasquatch is the host for that. It would be his face and his voice talking about certain animals, and so John. I think John is really excited about that.
Yeah, he seemed to be for sure.
Yeah, I bet he is.
Right.
Sorry, I'm in the middle of talking to Joe Keski. I sent him a
Oh,
message
okay,
earlier,
great.
uh, just to tell you, Ernie has been contacted by Doug Hychek to be in the new Sasquatch Legend Meets Science.
Oh, okay.
and he was looking for one more encounter, I guess, and I mentioned Joe Kesky, and so I sent Joe a message asking if that's something he would be interested in. So he sounds like he's interested, so I'm going to have to get the ball rolling with Ernie and have him contact Doug and see if they can make that happen. I don't know. So
Fantastic.
yeah, that would be interesting because I thought Joe's story was pretty intense. I think that might be a good one to have on there, but
Right. Right. Yeah, it was definitely intense.
I know he doesn't really like to share it, so I didn't know if that would be something he would even want to do. But he said he's not counting it out, so doesn't sound like he's fully committing, but he's
Great.
interested, I guess. So we'll see.
Great.
Okay, I'm gonna add. Here's some more pictures here. I'm guessing that was when you guys were together, September maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. And that's what should be. It's July,
Yeah, that
probably.
Elizabeth got sick and ended up having to leave, right? So it was just you four.
In the
Uh,
September one, yeah, I think, or one of the later ones.
right.
That's Elizabeth with Amy there. Picture of the Buckeye Trail. There's a picture of the food plot trail. Oh, that's John again. I guess I didn't go through my pictures very well. I'm doing a repeat. This was his copy of the cast from Patty
Yeah.
from the Patterson Gimlin film. I was talking about it in the last show. Do you know? I was thinking it was Bob Titmus that cast those. Do you know?
I do not know who casted the original ones.
Yeah, that I think he came down. I'm thinking him and Renee DeHenden came down right after it happened, and he found those prints and cast them. And I
I was
heard
always under.
that he never got them all. He cast a bunch of them, and then he never did get them all. I heard that some of them got left there.
I was always under the impression Roger Patterson uh did the casting, since that's
He
why he
might
was
have.
out
He
there.
might have. I'm
But
thinking that.
somebody I'm sure came down and got some themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There was some researcher. I don't remember which one, but I'm thinking it was Bob Titmus that did. But this was a cemetery you guys went to. I figured you might know
Yeah.
a little more about it.
Well, I don't know much about it. I I spoke about the Bigfoot Adventure weekend, and one of those weekends they took us to a cemetery, and we were really looking for that cemetery. I'm not completely sure that that was the one. And then we went. If you had gone through that cemetery and you had gone out a little further, there was a huge field. It was just beautiful. It was at night when we went, of course, and the fireflies were there were thousands of fireflies, and so that was one of my early excursions.
There's where Tommy's with you guys. I think that's when you found when you cast those prints on the beach.
Yep.
Okay.
There's I don't know if that was when you guys were there. Or, I think this was Carrie's picture. Well, I'm sure it is,
I was
but
going to say
Yeah,
I'm
whatever.
not familiar with that picture.
I'm not going to say
That's
why, but
back
I'm
by
sure it's
the
her picture.
57 swamp.
Oh, okay.
All those suspect prints. And that's off Freedom Road, that one.
Oh
I
wow!
I think
I
that's
don't
the
think
one
I've
I
seen
cast.
these.
I'm pretty sure that's the one I cast. Thanks to Carrie, she gave me the casting material, and I cast
Wow.
Actually, it came out pretty good. Here, I'll show you. I got it right here. Let me grab it. I don't think you've seen it yet, have you?
I don't think I've seen it. I've never seen these pictures.
It's
Oh wow. Very
hard to
nice.
see in the camera, but the toes came out really
Very
good.
nice.
I was just happy it didn't
Very
break or
nice.
anything for being my first time doing it.
Absolutely.
Carrie kind of
Yeah,
coached me through it.
that's something to be proud of.
Yeah,
That's wonderful.
yeah, I was really happy. I mean,
That's a great print.
it could be human, but it's pretty cold weather for him to be out barefoot walking in the mud, in that thick mud. So I don't know. I'm
Very
gonna have
good.
to. I showed Carrie a video I watched recently of. It was on YouTube. It was a guy I posted in my group, Sierra Sasquatch. The guy is
Okay.
he's a nurse. I think he was an army nurse in the military, and then now he works like in the ER. He assists surgeons in the ER, but he's really knowledgeable with medical and anatomy and things like that. And he was he posted some pictures of prints that he took and how you can notice the difference between human and Sasquatch prints, even though they look very much alike. I mean, with a trained eye, you can spot the differences. So I really need to look at his pictures some more and kind of try to understand what he's seeing. The difference in the way the foot is structured, because they'll say, well, Sasquatch foot is flat where a human has an arch, but that's not always the case. Their foot is flexible. So I don't know. It's also in the way the toes are aligned. I
Mhm.
don't know. I'll have to look at his pictures more and try to understand where
Yeah.
he's coming from. So I would
I
like to
like
be
that
able to
print.
have an eye on that. I think this was September.
That's
Not sure who
where
that
we
is.
found. That's where we found the prints together.
Yeah,
Yep. That's another picture of all our prints.
yeah. Guys hit the jackpot on that one.
Well, it seemed that way anyway. Yes. There were. I don't know, Carrie. How many different prints do you think there were?
Different sizes, you mean? Or just
Yes.
prints altogether? Um, I want to say two at least. I mean, there's a 10-inch one and then the smaller one. I think I can't remember what the size of it was, but I have the print. And there may have been another size one. Was that, is that where we found the one that you found the print later on at the dam, the one-toed one?
Yes.
Okay, so there was
Yes.
three then, and
Yeah.
then possibly another. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I think
It
the
was a
one
nice
I have
trackway.
is. I think the one I got was 11 inches long. I'm not
Okay.
quite. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's what was the length of it, but
Yeah, I'm not
yeah,
good with numbers, so um,
it
but yeah, there was a little one there. I got one of the prints. There was maybe three or four prints there by the little one. One of the bigger prints had a nice trackway. I think maybe you got that print. And there was a bunch of them over there by
I may have
the
some
closer to the
pictures of
lake.
it on this. Let me pull up this last set. There might be some pictures on there. Oh, this is I don't know what you want to call that thing that you found
yeah.
over by
I don't either. I
Hosaks.
don't know what that is.
When you found
Correct.
it, it was in. Remember in that spiral thing in the water?
Yes. Actually, it
With
was
the
my
spiral.
daughter who found it. My
Oh,
daughter
really?
found it. She was fishing. Yeah, we were camping there in July. My daughter and my grandson and myself, and we were She was doing some fishing, and Charlie and I were just doing some exploring. And she walked around that little cove there, and she's like, "Mom, come here." And that's what, yeah, that was there. I think most of the time it's underwater, and that's why we don't, really get
Yeah,
to see it.
and
But
it was so dry.
yeah,
This is what it looked like in October when we were there.
wow,
Yeah,
wow, I did
the
not
water's
see it in
really gone
October.
down.
Wow. Hmm.
And this is, if you remember him, Ray Baird. He came
Yes.
to the second guy. That's Eric on the left, Eric Hubbard, and then Ray Baird, and then me and Carrie. But he came. You remember he came and told his story, and then we went out to the property he grew up on.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
he took us out there. We walked around. He wanted us to kind of look and see if we could find any kind of evidence out there of anything, because he had pretty scary encounter there. That was the only thing we found was that it's like an extension cord that was woven perfect weave on it in a circle. He was pretty happy with that. But I was telling Carrie the strange thing is the next day after we were out there, he sent me a message thanking me for coming out there and everything, and he said he wanted anytime I wanted to come out to let him know, and he'd make sure his brother was okay, and I could camp out there or bring some people out or whatever. Well, then uh, I just saw the message. I was driving home, and when I got home, I went to respond to his message, and it said he wasn't available on Messenger. And then I looked, and he wasn't in my group anymore, and he unfriended me.
Oh my.
So I'm not sure what
Huh.
happened. Yeah,
Huh.
kind of strange. But I don't
Yeah.
know how to get a hold of him now. So
I think some people just are really cautious. I
yeah,
don't blame them. And so
yeah,
they may think that they're ready to go out, get out there, and be with like-minded people, and then they may change. Maybe he changed his mind, which I
yeah. I
understand.
don't know. Maybe he's just felt uneasy about having somebody he doesn't know out on the property he grew up on. I don't know. Hard to say.
Right. Right.
And this is you guys got together to go to that. You and Teresa and Carrie.
Right. That was fun.
The other Amy,
The other Amy.
Amy Boo and Amy Lou.
Yes. Perfect.
Yeah. And then this is you two where you went back out to Salt Fork, camped out
Okay.
there. Not at the,
Yeah.
but you guys went to the other camp, right? In the
Went to
park.
Bigfoot Ridge.
Yeah.
Bigfoot Ridge. Yes.
It's really pretty though this time of year.
Yeah, it
Definitely
was real
the
pretty.
time to be out there. And then you did another getaway to an undisclosed location. And I was
Undisclosed.
supposed to guess from this picture where you were at.
Got a little game.
I had no idea. She got me on that one. But it looks like it was a really pretty area.
Yep. Leaves are still hanging
It was
on.
beautiful.
I mean, that's part of
Beautiful.
the.
Beautiful.
I don't know how you got her up there to take that picture. Though, as scared as she is of heights, but
But she didn't go all the way over there.
I
She did
I
good
wouldn't
though.
go.
I made her
I
go far
wouldn't. I
enough.
wouldn't go.
oh,
I made her cross the bridge, and that was far enough.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But you did good.
That's right. That
yeah,
was
it's
a
really
fun time.
pretty area. And there's the best part, sitting around the campfire.
Yep. We had some beautiful weather, 60-degree days, and the second day we woke up, it was still 60 degrees.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was nice.
So
Very nice.
now On the last show we did, Teresa and Carrie talked about your little excursion where Carrie took you out to where she grew up and showed you the creek she used to kayak in. And
Yes.
then you had a little happening out there. So I just wanted to hear it from
Yes.
your point of view because when Carrie told it, she said the noise scared her and Teresa and they went to take off and you were just standing there in the way because you weren't scared. So I'm curious to hear
Well,
your point of
I
view.
would, yeah, I wouldn't say that I wasn't nervous but so we decided that we had gone to have dinner at a really great Mexican restaurant that Carrie
Oh, I love Mexican.
had suggested. Oh, it was excellent. So we go, and we're just these young chicks looking for trouble,
Oh
and
yeah,
so we decide
I
we're
had
going
the
to
bet
go
money
out
ready.
looking. It's a good thing. Uh, so we go out on this back road, and Carrie was showing us where her
Uh-oh,
husband was raised. Oh,
you're back.
okay.
Okay.
Showing us just some things, and so we get to this road, and we decide that we're going to go walk down it. And Carrie had kayaked on this creek that went through, and we got out and we started walking. I think we hung around the car for a little bit. Then we got out, we started walking, and we heard something. If I'm wrong, Carrie, please tell me. But we heard something. I heard something to my left, at least a couple times. It sounded like just a popping noise, branch,
So, like
something.
something moving.
Yeah, like maybe something moving, but yeah. So, and then we got. I don't know. We didn't take too many steps, and all of a sudden we heard this tree breaking off, and I mean it was loud. It was really loud, and I think if I did recall, Carrie and Teresa was like going back to the car, and I'm just standing there waiting for the next move. And so we heard some things after that, didn't we? Carrie heard some movement in the
Um,
brush and stuff.
yeah, like, well, I turned around to run, but you were right behind me and not running. You were just standing there. So I was like, well, okay, I'll stand here too. And then we stood there for a couple minutes, and
Yeah.
Teresa said she heard footsteps, but I don't, that could have been my footsteps, because I was trying to leave. And then when we did turn around to leave, there was something dropped. I don't know if it was walnuts, a rock, wood, something
Oh
dropped.
yeah. Right.
There was some noise there again on that same side, the creek
Well,
side of
Right.
then
the road.
I also heard that once they both got in the car, that you called on the Squatch Whisperer to talk to him from the car.
Yeah. I asked Carrie to talk to him. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's got this beautiful voice, and they just, yeah. So
Well,
I
you're
said,
both
yeah.
Squatch Whisperers because you
Teresa
got
and
the
I both were like,
that night when you were
talk
standing
to
over at
them,
camp.
Carrie. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was interesting. Totally unexpected. And I think that's when it usually happens. Is when we were just taking a walk up this road, and Carrie had a little story about the person that lived in the house on up, and we were probably just chatting away, and then all of a sudden, I mean, it was loud,
That's
and
when it usually
yeah, that
happens.
was interesting. Right, when you least expect it.
Yeah.
So that was more eventful probably than Bigfoot Ridge. Would you say, Carrie?
Yeah, it's been quieter otherwise, both
Right.
excursions. I mean, the last one I was hoping for way more, but nothing really happened much. We heard
At
some
at
noises
the
outside
undisclosed
the,
location, you were hoping.
yeah. We
hoping
heard
for
some
something good.
noises, but
We said you heard sound like somebody walking on the road.
yeah, we thought it was the
Yeah.
road because I thought the road was a little more leafy, but the next day it was kind of like in the ditch in between the road and the hill was where all the leaves were. We heard a bunch of movement.
Well, my one friend Randy Harrington, you know who he is, right?
Hmm.
Yes.
Uh, the one that's out in Missouri, I think is where he lives. But he was just talking. He posted a video about one running by his tent, and he was talking about how he's heard the sound, and this other friend of his, they never talked about it, but they both described the same sound that when it was running, he said it sounded you could hear the feet slapping on the ground, and he said, you know, if we try to run, we're more like on the balls of our feet. We're not flat-footed when we're running. And but he said it sounds like they are when they run, and he's trying to understand that how they could run flat-footed like that. But
Hmm.
because the sound that it was making, it just sounded like flat feet hitting the ground when it was running past. Said it ran by his tent like at 2 in the morning.
We also had some, Carrie, if you remember, the second night, we had some rocks tumble down, and there was some movement on the top of the ridge
Where?
there.
Oh, at
Yeah.
Bigfoot Ridge
No,
or
no,
the
this
other
was our
place?
the last
Okay.
time we were out. Yeah, and that
Was
was
it like
interesting. It seemed like it picked up.
was it like when me and you was out on the Buckeye Trail this last time, and we heard it sounded like rocks falling down the hill? Remember that?
Me, Amie,
Uh,
No, me
not
and Carrie,
me.
we went
Yeah, you and Carrie, right?
on the Buckeye
well,
Trail. We went back on the
I don't
Buckeye
remember
Trail,
that. I remember we went on the Buckeye Trail, but I don't
and
remember the rocks.
it sounded like a couple of big rocks were like rolling down the hill, like somebody had kicked them off walking along the ridge or something.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think what Amy's talking about, I think I was maybe unwrapping foil or something, and you heard that big noise on the top, and then I went to put my recorder out on somebody's porch that was away from us, so it'd be under, so it wouldn't get wet. And when I was walking away, or shortly after I put that recorder on, I heard like a rock in front of the cabin that I was putting the recorder on. It just like rolled down the hill like a small rock, but I wasn't going to go over there and look because
Like maybe it was tossed,
no, like something had moved and it just made that rock
just roll.
roll down the hill. Yep.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
So it
Yeah,
could have been
that
a
this
small
is
animal,
what. Yeah,
but
Carrie, I think you were actually um kind of had your head stuck in the back of the car looking for something,
oh,
and Dad said, "Yeah, did you just hear that?" Because yeah, the rocks were kind of tumbling down. They weren't being thrown by any means. They were just kind of tumbling down. But then you could hear movement above us,
yeah.
and yeah, that was interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a lot of movement and stuff around us at that second night for sure. The first night was
Right,
quiet, second night, which is kind of typical, I think. They get used to you after the first night and then get a little closer. So,
right, right.
Well, I had this
Yeah,
and
crazy idea for April. Uh, I was thinking one, and I think you've mentioned doing this before, is take like some rakes and rake the area really good, like around the fire ring and around our tents, and make sure there's nothing there. You know, make sure it's totally clear so we know if anything shows up, it wasn't there before. But what I was thinking is go like along the wood line, into the woods there, along that wood line, and look for rocks, small rocks along there. And if we find any, take a Sharpie and like mark in one area, put number ones on all of them, and then a little farther down, put number twos. A little farther down, put number threes. And then if any of those rocks happen to show up, we know where they came from too. We know what location
Yeah.
they were they were in originally.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because if we
Have you
sweep the
guys
area
had
with
some rocks
rake,
thrown at you at camp? Have you had some rock tosses come in at you?
I have just once, and it's it was an interesting story.
were you
I
by
think
yourself?
no, I was with it was when I was in the SOSP group, and a friend of mine that was also in SOSP. We would those were the days where you could go into group camp early,
Oh,
and they didn't care how many people were there. So this was probably 10 years ago. Um, so she had brought a couple down from Chillicothe that were interested. She went all the way there, got them, brought them down. But of course, when you don't know people, you kind of don't know what you're getting yourself into. So we
yeah.
were at the campfire, and these two started to. There was actually three of them, two guys and a girl. Well, the guy and the girl started arguing, and there was definitely some alcohol or something was going on with them. I would say they were inebriated, and so they started arguing back and forth pretty loudly, and uh, some pretty bad stuff. They were saying to each other, and just all of a sudden, I don't know how long they were arguing, but just all of a sudden, you could hear this thing coming through the canopy, and it was probably almost about the size of a softball, and it just landed like 10 feet
Hmm.
between. It was actually, it didn't really come to the fire. It came to uh my friend's car. It just right in front of her car. It landed, and yeah, and they also, somebody, I don't know who, but they chucked some firewood, threw some firewood against the ladies' restroom, and I mean, these things, it was loud. So I don't know who would have been out there in the middle of the night doing that stuff, but yeah, that's my rock throwing story.
Hmm.
Hmm. Maybe we should have a fake argument. See what
Yep.
happens.
So, yeah, yeah. I don't know, but I really do feel that that's why they threw the rock, because they were causing havoc there. And I don't know. I could be wrong.
That
It's
could be it.
interesting.
You say they're from Chillicothe, huh?
Yes,
I don't know
yes.
if you heard in the last. Well, actually, I don't think it was the last show that I talked about it, but it's the last show I did, but it wasn't the one I did with Teresa and Carrie. Let me see. Let me show this real quick. This is an article from. This is from down by Chillicothe, Ross County. Did you
Oh
hear me
yeah,
talk?
I absolutely did. I did. Yes, yeah. I saw this.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy, isn't it?
really interesting. It really is. Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I can't imagine how they determined that this is going to be the headline: non-human creature.
Yeah, yeah. That
It, it's
would
almost
definitely
like they're
spin
trying
some
to put a
heads.
little signal out by saying that.
Right. I
Like we're
agree.
not allowed to come right out and say it, but so we'll word it this way.
Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, what do you mean by non-human?
Yeah, it's
Wow,
just
interesting.
such an odd way to word it.
Yeah, it really was. They could have
I
said
mean,
big
it's
cat or
or
you know,
unknown
uh,
animal or something like that.
right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That was a really interesting story.
yeah. It made me think of it when you said they were from Chillicothe because that's where that happened.
Right.
That's one of my. Actually, I kind of thought about. I need to look at the camp there. There's a place called Tar Hollow, and
Oh yeah, yeah. I've heard of Tower Hollow.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm trying to find a good place for our group camp, and I'm still trying to find a good spot where we can do it as a group. I'm almost thinking that we'd be better off at a private owned campground rather than a state park, but I'd like to find one that like is right next to a state park where we have access to the woods and stuff. But
Well, whatever you choose, we will try our best to be there.
well, I gave Carrie and Ernie a sneak preview. I'll tell you, and then anybody that watches this will get a sneak preview. What there's a couple ideas I wanted to do for the group camp. One of them was I was going to build a box frame that I can put sand in about 6 inches deep, and then people can take their shoes off barefoot and step in it, and then practice casting. Thought that would be
Yeah.
something good for everybody to get a chance to practice it, rather than having to practice on one that's actually could be legit. To get
Yeah,
a
that's
chance
an
to practice on.
excellent idea.
And then the other idea I had is I'm going to make this like a cardboard silhouette figure of a Bigfoot, and I'm going to go out to an undisclosed location in the woods and put it there and take a picture of it, and then I'm going to pass the picture around to everybody and give them the general area of where it is, and it's going to be a contest to see who can recreate it, go find the actual spot, and have somebody stand in the location and determine the height of it, and whoever is the closest to
Mm.
the height gets the prize.
Very cool. Very cool ideas, Paul. I love
So I
it.
want it to kind of be a learning thing, because like
Right.
if somebody comes to you and they have a picture, they had a sighting or whatever. I mean, I'm always telling people that's the best thing to do is go have somebody stand in that spot, try to find the same spot, take another picture. I mean, even like with what Carrie saw on 57, she went back like a week later. Everything had looked a lot different, and I'm
Right.
still kind of wondering about that picture because it sure looked like a face at the bottom of it, like it was peeking through. And I mean, that would have been perfect cover that it could just blend right in, stand, peek through underneath, and you wouldn't notice it because she didn't notice
Yeah,
it when
I
she took
think they're
the picture
probably
until later.
right. Well, and we just came on down there. Uh, it was in a time of day then that maybe that place doesn't get visited very often. So it's
Yeah, that's what.
possible. I mean, it's possible that, they were down there doing their thing and we interrupted and she might have gotten a photograph of a peaker. Who knows?
That's kind
I'm
of my
gonna have
new
to
that's kind of my new
go ahead.
area of interest there because it just makes sense to me that that would be a prime location for them because that whole area goes right over to camp. It's on a dead end road. They can hear anybody coming 10 minutes before they get there on that gravel road.
Right,
And
right.
when me and Carrie and Tommy, we hiked that trail when you go down in the dead ends, that trail that's to the left that they cut going back in there. We hiked that trail
Okay.
pretty good ways back in there. And while we were walking back, I just made the comment. I said, one thing I've never heard is when people talk about hearing a bull crashing through the woods, sound like a bull. running through the woods. I said, I've never heard that. And we walked so far and we turned around. We were coming back, and Carrie had to pee, so we went on ahead. And me and Tommy we came around a curve in the trail, and we heard that something took off through the
Wow.
woods. And the way I just describe it, Carrie didn't get to hear it. She was farther back, so she didn't hear it. But when I was
Wow.
describing it, the best way I could describe it is if you took like a 50-gallon drum full, if you were able to just throw it into the woods. That's what it sounded like. It sounded like something huge,
Wow.
too big to be a deer. So, we didn't see anything.
Wow.
It was gone by the time we came around. But
Yeah, I
and
think it would be. Go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say that when me and Josh, I don't know if you remember, we went down there that one night, and when we got parked at the end, it started raining. We just turned around and came back. But when we were driving down there, I mean, it seems like you're going downhill the whole time. It's weird how it's like seems
Right.
like it's constantly downhill. But I got almost to where it dead ends. On the right, you could kind of see a good ways over on your right. See the hill line going up. I saw something white, pretty big. I don't know what it was, but I just
Huh.
caught a really quick flash. I mean, it moved
Interesting.
so fast that it was just a blur when I looked over at it. We were driving, it was at night, and I just caught a really quick glimpse. But it was big, whatever it was, and it was white. But it went behind a tree just as I got a look at it.
Wow.
I have no idea what it was. I didn't really
Wow.
mention it because I really didn't see anything. But
There's
Yeah, I
reports
think
of a white. Oh, sorry. There's reports of a white one out there. Sorry.
yeah, yeah,
no, no, no. I was just gonna say, I think that I know for myself that it's getting important for me to write down when and how and where things happen.
yeah,
As
yeah. I
far as
definitely need to
keeping a
be
journal,
right.
I
Need to
think
be
it
more
would be good
disciplined
for
on
all
that.
of us too.
Yeah,
And it's hard, it's difficult, but I think we if we would come together and share our notes, there might be some kind of connection there.
well, just like what you're
That you
saying
just
there. I when I was there in July, I tried that Randonautica thing, and it took me to a spot off of 55. Well, it was actually right across the lake from the park office. When you come in the park, and there's that office on your right. If you went straight across
right,
the lake in a boat, it was like right by the lake there, but there was no good way to get there. So the closest way I could get there was going up 55, and I parked at this hunting area, and I hiked back that way. And I never did make it all the way back because it was getting dark by then, and my phone was almost dead. So I didn't want my phone to be dead and be in the dark and not be able to find my way back out. So I turned around and came back. But I did find two prints while I was looking, and the
right.
one print I took a picture of it, and I mean it sure looked like a print, but there was only one toe, a big toe, and I thought, well,
Hmm,
that's probably not a print because it just looked so odd. And then you showed me that cast you had of that foot,
right.
and I think it was the same foot. Well, not the
Yeah,
same
I'm.
foot. I think it was the same creature. That's what's weird is your foot was left foot, wasn't it?
No, it was a right foot.
It was a right
I think
foot
it was a right. Well, maybe it was a left. I'd
because
have
this
to
was a
look at
right
the
foot that
picture
I
to
saw.
remember. Okay,
I was thinking it was the opposite of the one you saw.
okay, okay.
But
I would have to go back and look at the picture again or the pictures and make sure and see. I know that whatever I took, it was the same foot and just 2 weeks apart.
well, you
Found them
found it in
two
two
weeks
different
apart.
places, right?
Uh, in yes, that's correct. There was in uh, it was in the same area, but it was just in a different kind of location. I don't know how to describe it, but yeah,
Well, did Teresa
Yeah.
find one too? The same? Didn't she find one?
Uh, well, we all found one the day. I mean, we all found them together. I would say
Oh,
on the
okay.
day when we found them all. But I was by myself. That was the day you and I and Eric were out there,
Yeah.
and you guys
Okay.
had actually walked on ahead of me and didn't see it. I guess Eric
'Cause
said he
that's a
didn't see it.
long. That was a long ways from 55. That location.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. Right.
but that's probably not a long distance for them, but to us it seems like pretty
Right.
far away.
Right. But yeah, I don't think that. I think that they probably can go a good ways, in a 24-hour period. I I don't know how far. I've always guesstimated about 20 to 25 miles, and
Yeah.
I've read reports where they think that they've walked way more than longer or farther than that. So
Well, that guy, if you remember that documented Grizzly Man, the guy that got killed by a bear, that
yes,
bear, that bear was from 40 miles away, and they know that
right,
because it was tagged. So
right,
they got a pretty good range. I don't know what a bear's range is, but obviously it's more than 40 miles. But and then you take something that has a 7 foot stride, 6, 7 foot stride. Who knows what their range might be?
right. Hey, I have to jump off for just a minute, but
Okay,
I'll be back. Is that okay?
okay,
I want to see if
yep.
I can get you. Can you see this?
What's that? Oh, there he is. Yeah,
There
yeah. That was
he is.
really hard to. It was really hard to ship it to you after I opened it and looked at it, but I.
I believe it. There he
Yeah.
is. He's having his coffee. He's having his coffee with his Sasquatch cup.
All right.
I'll be
Yeah.
back.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, good. You've been awful quiet. Now you have a chance to say some stuff. Oh, we get to look at him there. Here we
Oh
go.
no.
So, what did you want to talk about? You got anything to say about your last couple of excursions together?
Hmm. I don't know. It's been pretty quiet. Been real quiet at the undisclosed location, unfortunately. But yeah, I took Amie there for the first time. She really loved it. Love for you to see it.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do that thing, that trail
Yeah. That'd be good.
in the future.
Yeah, I had mentioned to you that I'm hoping, like in the sometime in December, I'm going to try to get a hold of the guy in my group. He's wanting to show me some places that are. Uh, Lost me for a second. A park ranger showed his dad years ago, so I'm hoping I can find out where those locations are and get out there and check them out. And then also, I'd like to try to get down on 57 and spend the night out there and see if I can get something to happen. I think that's a pretty good location.
Alrighty.
I'll definitely
Yeah.
have the
How about
audio running for sure.
yeah. How about on November 17th and 18th? There's that conference at the Cabela's up at Tridelphia. Did you know about that? I think Bill Rigby's putting it on, or
Oh,
he's going to be there.
yeah, I'll probably be still working. I'm gonna probably work
Okay.
till the rest of the month.
All right.
So
Yeah, there
yeah,
was a camp
but
out that
December I'm gonna
weekend,
try to
that night.
get out.
What's that?
I said December I'm gonna try to get out.
Okay.
I I probably won't be able to get out until then.
All right. Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to do the 17th and 18th, but I know Elizabeth's wanting to get out there, so I'm hoping to
Oh,
too.
Elizabeth's going.
She wants to, yep.
Hmm.
So we'll see. But yeah, it's been pretty quiet. as far as any activity is concerned. So pretty quiet the
Yeah,
last. We went to Bigfoot Ridge. We heard that noise at the There's a dumpster over there, and we thought there was a hunter loading his 4-wheeler or side by side. And turns out there wasn't any hunter over there loading his side by side. I don't know if they rode it out or what happened, but we walked over there to see what was going on after a bit, and there was nothing over there. So that's really it. Some noises over by the dumpster. Could have been raccoons, but
yeah.
we
Did you
don't
get a
know.
chance to listen to that YouTube, or not YouTube? It was on Tubi, I guess. That video where that guy heard them wood knocks. It sounded just like the ones we heard at
Yeah.
Morgan Snob.
Yeah, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I heard the wood knocks. It sounded that yeah, you're right. Pretty loud,
Yeah, it
heavy
sounded like it was
knocks.
with a big log, not with a stick.
Yeah,
Hey, she's
definitely.
back.
I'm back.
Yeah, we were just talking about. You ever heard of Thomas Markham?
I don't think I have. No.
Well, he was Bigfooter of the Year, like in 2014, I think, or something like that. Whatever that title means, but he's from Tennessee, and on Tubi they had a documentary that he did, and I was watching it. And at one point, while he was out, he heard these wood knocks, and I showed Carrie. It sounded just like the ones we heard at Morgan's Knob that night.
Oh,
Because,
interesting.
well, what I did was we went back to at Morgan's Knob. We walked back the trail a ways, and I took a stick and I did a wood knock. We didn't hear anything. It was real quiet. We were walking back out. I did a couple more, and then I found this big old log that was like 4 inches in diameter, and I hit with that. It sounds totally different with that. And I did it once, and then we walked a little farther, and I found another one, and I picked it up to do it again. And as I was picking it up, we heard a response, and it sounded like a log hitting a tree. It didn't sound like a stick, and that's the same sound that he heard on that video. It it sounds totally different with the log than it does with the stick. A lot different sound. But
Hold
Yeah,
on just a minute, guys.
okay,
it was definitely a log, not a stick for sure. It sounded
yeah,
like you did the log, and then we heard the
yeah,
log, and it was pretty crazy. That's for sure.
yeah. Because
I
I wouldn't have
mean,
been as surprised if it sounded like a stick, because it could have been a person, anybody. But to hear a log in response, that was kind of surprising.
yeah, it was a pretty quick response to be using
Yeah, it was like 20 seconds or so, I think.
thought it was
Hmm.
pretty neat. But you'll have to watch the rest of that video maybe later.
Yeah, I kind of lean more toward the wood knocks than doing howls and whoops and all that, because I mean they know for sure when you do a whoop or a howl, well, they know that's a person. But if you do a wood knock, I don't know that they necessarily know the difference. That
Hmm.
they know for sure that that is a person doing it or not. That's why I like to do them,
Yeah,
because I
I
think it's
don't do
pretty
wood
hard to
knocks.
trick
I
them.
do my U, and that's it.
We got a
Sometimes.
bat.
What's that?
You got a
Oh, I
bat.
got a bat. Yeah, I haven't used it yet.
Yours is better than mine. I got a little short one. You got a nice big
Yeah.
one for that.
Did you use it or no?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, when we went down the Buckeye Trail, I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Hmm. Did we hear wood knocks that night? I can't remember on the Buckeye Trail.
I don't remember hearing any wood knocks, but we were hearing that movement, and we heard those rocks going down It sounded like a couple big rocks rolling down the hill, down the ravine there. Sounded to me like something was walking along the top there and kicked them off or something. Or it could
Yeah.
have been a deer or something, but something made them fall.
I definitely need to keep a
And we
journal.
were hearing a little
Everything
bit of
blends
movement back there.
together
Yeah,
with all of our
yeah,
excursions.
definitely need
I
to
need to
do
keep a
better on
journal.
that.
Like, yeah, Amie was
And like I
saying.
said on the audio, as soon as you turn it on, say where you are, what time, what day. Get in the habit of doing that. Makes it a whole
I've
lot
gotten
easier
better.
later on.
Yeah, I've gotten better at doing that. So, but I think my
And
audio recorder is on the fritz finally.
oh, is
It
it?
just,
Yeah.
yeah, it, yeah, it wasn't working properly. I mean, it recorded
Were you
some,
able
but,
to get off of it what you had though?
uh, well, yeah, I mean, I haven't done the last recording. It only recorded 5.5 hours of the last night Amie and I were out, and the first night it only recorded an hour. So I don't know.
I think
It's
mine's
just
acting up
acting
too.
funny. Yeah, it just got too wet too many times. So
Mine's not
we're
responding
Sienna.
to when it's plugged in.
Mm,
I had it plugged into the outlet and it was saying the battery was low and shut back off. I mean, it
hmm.
still work with batteries, but because our grandkids were over the other day and my grandson took the dog out and he came back in and said it smelled like a dead animal out there. And I was like, really? He said, yeah, something really stinks out there. So I grabbed my recorder and took off out there to set it up and put it on record. And well, I ended up figuring out it was a farmer had sprayed the field out there across the creek, and he was smelling that.
Oh,
But,
hmm. Yeah. Yeah. We've been not having very much activity. Maybe next year will be the year. We've had over the year we've had a lot though. At camp, group camp. But
well,
this
that
last
night
couple of times, it's just get.
when
I
we were
think the
sitting there
hunters
along
are.
the wood line, there was a lot of noise going on
Yeah,
back in there.
yeah. I think the
Crazy.
hunters have chased them away for the time being.
Yeah, I'm not sure if hunters chase them away or if they kind of lie in waiting, hoping to snag a deer after they shoot one, or I don't know.
Yeah, I
But
don't
I've
know.
heard a lot of stories where they say, "I know I got him, but we never did find him."
Yeah, that's true. It's hard to say. I'm just being pretty quiet.
Because I mean, they're pretty intelligent, so it seems like that'd be easy pickings. Just lie and wait till one shoots one, run over and grab it and take off.
Yeah, you hear a lot of stories.
And even a
So,
bow hunter, by the time he climbs down out of his tree stand, they'd have time to grab it and be gone.
yeah. Have you ever hunted, Paul?
Uh, I went with my dad when I was young. I don't know. Well, you know guns, I guess, better than a lot of people. But my dad had a 16 gauge. I didn't know anything about guns then. I was a teenager, and he borrowed a 10 gauge from a friend of his. Well, I thought a 10 gauge is less than a 16 gauge, so I thought, oh well, this would be a piece of cake. So I went out there, and he was telling me, hold it tight against your shoulder. It's going to kick pretty good. So I did. I was kind of scared to shoot it at first, and I got to where I was comfortable. I could shoot it, and it kicked pretty good, but I held it pretty tight, and I got to where I was okay with shooting it. And then he said, "Well, I guess you're ready for this one." He handed me that 16 gauge. So I'm thinking this thing's got to be an elephant gun compared to what I've been shooting. So I got my feet spread wide apart, really bracing myself, and it was like a BB gun after shooting that 10 gauge. He just started laughing. He said, "I just thought it would be better to try out on the hard one. That way you wouldn't be scared of anything else after you shot that." But
Hmm?
we went grouse hunting, and I don't know. I kind of wish I would have paid more attention back then because we went to an area where he grew up, but it was really heavily wooded down in there. And I remember having to go to the outhouse at night, and I couldn't even see my hand in front of my face. And I don't know. And just when we were out in the woods, I wish I would have known what I know now and kind of looked around more. But all we did is hunted, as they say. We did a lot of hunting. Never did see nothing.
Hmm.
But I don't have it in me to kill animals, I guess. I don't think I could have shot something if I saw it anyway. So I never really was into hunting. She's back.
I apologize. Life
No
goes
worries.
on.
Yeah.
Life just keeps going on around you, and so you just have to fit things in.
Hmm.
We
Yeah.
just been running at the mouth while you was going, talking about this and that.
I
Yeah.
know.
I was telling her
You were
about,
talking about guns?
yeah, she asked me if I ever went hunting, and I was telling her about I went one time with my dad and my brother when I was a kid, and it was actually in Beaver, Ohio. Um, and that guy, that's why I was so interested when that guy, you said you don't remember, but there was a guy at the group camp that I think it was, I think it might have been the first one I went to that shared about his encounter. And he was in Beaver, Ohio. He said he was bird watching. And he's on Sasquatch Chronicles, but it's a members only one, so I wasn't able to listen to it. And I don't know what number it is. But you don't remember that guy sharing that?
Was it about his son? He and his
No,
son should.
he went. He was bird
No.
watching. He went to go bird watching. He said he got out and was walking down the trail, and I think he had just got on the trail, hadn't gone that far, and he saw something on his right behind a tree, like down low, but it looked pretty big, and he didn't know what it was. He was looking at it, trying to figure out what it was. You could see it like behind the bushes there, and he said it turned and stepped. It stood up, and he said the way it stood up was really odd. I don't know what he meant by that, but he just said it was really odd the way it moved when it stood up. And he said it just looked at him and walked across the trail and disappeared. He said he
Hmm.
thinks it wanted him to see it because I mean, why else would it stand up right as he's coming and then walk across the trail in front of him? Why wouldn't it
Right.
go the other way?
Right. Yeah. We don't know why they do what they do. We
Yeah,
don't know what we're doing. So yeah.
but that was in Beaver,
Yeah.
Ohio, which is where my dad grew up. So that's why it
Okay.
really caught my interest when he was
Yeah.
talking about it.
That's interesting.
And that's where I went hunting with him. And I went down there a few times because my uncle still lived down there, and we would go down and see him. And I thought that was the only place I'd ever been in Ohio that had dirt roads. I mean, pretty rare anymore. Or at least around here, you don't see them anywhere. You don't even see gravel roads anywhere around where I live.
Wow. Wow. I would miss my gravel roads.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a little different over on this side of the state.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. Although I'd still love to see it. You
I
know.
mean, you can find gravel roads down south of me, but quite a ways south of Dayton, southeast of Cincinnati, I guess. Down in that area, you'll find gravel roads, but you won't find them anywhere around Dayton or Columbus or Cincinnati.
Hmm. Very interesting.
Yeah, this side of the state's a lot different. Not as hilly. I mean, there is hills, but
Right.
not like where you're at. They're spread out a lot more.
Right.
A lot of flat areas, and all the flat areas are farms. Seems like there's a lot of patches of
Yeah.
wood. There's a lot of woods, but There's houses all over, right along the woods everywhere. So just not as remote here.
Right.
So I think
Right.
they move around a whole lot more. They don't stay in one area like over
I
there.
agree
I
with
mean,
you. Carrie and I were just talking about that.
yeah, over there they can stay put in an area for years and not have to worry about it. But it's not that way here. They have to move around all the time, I think.
I think that's one of their key elements is that they Carrie and I were just discussing this yesterday, and that um, possibly one of the reasons why we can't pin them down is because they're constantly moving. Perhaps nomadic. That they just may move where for the food source or
Yeah,
uh, where there's less development. I don't. We don't know. But I think that they do move around quite a bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think they know like areas where there's orchards or berry
Right.
patches, nuts. I think they know what time of year they're ripe, what time to go through pawpaws. I think they just.
Right.
I mean, I've heard this guy I was working with. Um, he was from Ross County, the one I shared that article about the non-human creature. He's got 42 acres down there, and I don't think Bigfoot ever crossed his mind until I started talking to him about it. And then he started talking about things that's happened down there. And he said his neighbor is a elderly woman, and she said her apple tree. She came out and like all the apples were gone overnight. She was gonna like make some stuff with the apples, and came out the next day and they were all gone. And she asked him if he picked her apples, came over on her property. He's like, no, I didn't come over there. And she's like, well, they were all gone, even the ones up high.
Really.
And she,
Well, we had
he,
the same thing happen
yeah,
here. I think I've shared that with you about
I've heard
the
several
apples
stories like
disappearing
that.
overnight.
Yeah, even
Yeah.
the ones that you can't reach that are way up high all
Right.
disappear.
There was not one apple left on the tree. No
Yeah,
apples left on the ground.
that's not a
It was
deer
it
doing
was
that.
very strange. It was very strange. Yeah.
And
It
where
had
I
that
went
happen.
camping in Findlay, when I went camping there, the lady that owned that property, she has pawpaws there, and she said like several years they've gone keep an eye on the pawpaws when they're about to get ripe. They want to go back and pick them, and every time they go back, they're gone. And she said she
Interesting.
wonder if somebody's trespassing on their property and getting them because every time they go
Right.
get them when they're ripe, they're gone.
Huh.
So I don't know. I
Very
think it happens
interesting.
to a lot of people that just never, they just they wonder about it, but they never. It's just probably one of those things that people years later start putting two and two together.
Right.
So I remember hearing a guy talking about, those freshwater clams that are like in a lot of creeks, rivers. I
Yeah.
mean, they look like a regular clam shell, but they're a little smaller, maybe about that big around. But I I heard a guy talking about he found like 100 of them back in the woods, all piled up together. So I mean, yeah, raccoons eat them, but they don't drag 100 of them back into the woods to eat them. They'll eat them right there
Right.
along the creek.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Because I could see where they would do that, like come at night, start gathering them all night, and then take them back into the woods somewhere as morning's coming, where they might be seen from the road or something like that. Go back into the woods where they can eat them.
Mm. Yeah.
So I think that's how they move around here is along the creeks and rivers. We got three pretty big rivers running up into Dayton and a lot of creeks around. and they're all wooded all the way down. So even with houses on either side, they can just move right down those creeks or rivers. That's something
Right.
I'm wanting to try.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to try next summer is want to get a canoe or something and just get in the river and like all night just drift down the river real quiet.
You are a
Like,
brave soul, Paul.
I think that have a good shot of maybe catching one because I think the water kind of makes some noise anyway. So I think, and if I'm real quiet anyway, just sitting in it, just drifting, I won't be making any sound. Just drifting down the river. Never know, I might catch something.
Carrie can hook you up with the kayaks.
Yeah, you can use my
I tried.
kayak.
I tried. She wouldn't. She wouldn't do it
I
at
won't go
Piedmont.
there. Not at night. She can
I
use
actually
my
got an
kayak.
inflatable raft. I might just use it. That might work.
Can use Elizabeth's inflatable kayak.
There you go. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'd like to try that because I'm sure that's how they travel around here, is up and down those rivers. Because there's so many houses. It's not that many open areas. I mean, they could go through the woods, but then they're going to have to cross fields or something out in the open at some point,
Right.
which they could
Right.
do at night pretty easy, I guess. But a lot of the sightings have been road crossings here along near creeks or rivers. So I don't know. It's a mystery. If it was easy, there'd be a lot more sightings and a lot more people finding evidence. Spend a lot of time just enjoying nature, so it's not all bad.
Yeah. Oh, it's. I always say there's never a bad day in the woods. You know. But
In fact, I'm
yeah.
kind of leaning on the idea that maybe the best thing to do is just go out and just hike. That's where a lot of people has their sightings is not looking for them. They're just out hiking or whatever and run across one, or
Right.
one crosses a trail or
Right.
whatever.
Right. Well, I definitely hope you and Carrie both get have a sighting. Yeah,
Yeah,
that would be
I do
so
too.
cool.
I'm guessing she does too. I don't know. I do.
I just want to see that
Yeah.
one.
I mean, I'd be happy if one screamed at me. That'd be okay. I mean, I'd leave, but at least
Hmm.
that would be okay.
Yeah, you'd probably be smart to leave. Probably, I would
Oh
bet.
yeah, I would definitely take the hit, but especially if you have your audio going. I mean, that way you got something you can show that people will know that's not fake. If you got a scream or something like that.
Right. Well, you got to scream.
Yeah,
You have a
yeah,
scream on audio.
yeah. I just wish I could know 100% that it's not a coyote. I mean, I don't think
Right.
it is, but I've had an awful lot of people say it was. So I don't know. I'd like to
Hmm.
know for sure.
That was one angry coyote.
I was hoping
So
that
the big
I
one.
sent it to Thinker Thunker, and then Russell Easterbrook sent it to him also, because I know Russell and he heard it. He thought it was real, so he's friends with Thinker Thunker, I guess. Because I thought,
Well,
it definitely has coyote on it. So if that's
right.
not coyote, he's got them both right there side by side. He can say, look, right here's the difference. This is coyote and this is something else. But I guess I need to just figure out how to do the spectral analysis myself. Do it myself.
Have you ever played him for John Hickenbottom?
No,
Do you know?
never met
Yeah,
him.
you might want to. Okay, well, the next time you're at Salt Fork, we'll have to make it, a arrangements for him to come visit us, or we'll go
Yeah,
visit him and let him listen to it.
yeah, I
I'd
would
love
like to
for
get
him to hear it.
his opinion on it
Yeah,
because
yeah.
there was a guy that was on a podcast recently. He's a doctor, and he does a lot of audio recording. Does quite a bit of audio recording. In fact, that's mostly what he does. I don't know how many he has, but he puts them out for like a couple months. That's what I need to learn is how you can do long-term recording like that. But I played them for him, and he said he thought it was coyote. He said they can make a lot of
He.
strange
Oh,
sounds.
really? Oh. Oh.
So I don't know.
Huh. Well, I have to
Me-
be heading out of here. I'm so sorry to have to leave you.
Oh, that's okay.
Uh,
We went over
thank
an
you so
hour,
much
so
for having us. Thank you so much for having me on, Paul.
well, I was glad to have you
Always
on.
a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure and an honor. Thank you.
Well, I'm glad
You
you were
take
able to make
care.
it. All right, you too.
Thank you.
All
You
right.
too. Bye, Carrie.
Bye. Talk to you soon.
Okay.
Figuring out how to leave.
Right.
I can boot you out. Oh, she figured it out.
Oh, shoot.
Yep. I guess we probably wrap it up. It's probably been over an hour. Yep.
Yeah.
Hour and 26 minutes is where we're at right now. So,
Well, yep. Been good talking to you. Glad you're feeling better.
well, thank you. Yeah, I am too. I took a lot of echinacea and colloidal silver and vitamin D3, a lot of that stuff. So I think I kicked it pretty good.
That's good.
I don't get sick very often. I only get sick like once or twice a year. So
Yeah, same with me. So I think you saved me this time because I was had a little bit of sinus issue on the way down for our trip, and
yeah.
so said thank goodness for Paul. He made me take my immunity stuff, and I got some
Well,
other
when I got it,
elderberry
when I got
stuff.
that pneumonia, I was at work and working all day, feeling fine, and it was like we had an afternoon break, like at 2 o'clock, I think. And after break, I had to climb up this scaffold. We were up about 60 foot up, and I climbed all the way up there, and I started feeling really lousy when I got up there. And I told him, I said, I don't feel good. I said, I think I'm going to go home. So I went ahead and crawled back down the scaffold and left. And the
Mm.
next morning, I called in, stayed home, and Kim went to the grocery. I told her I wasn't feeling good, so wasn't going to go to work. She went to the grocery, and when she came back, I was laying there shivering, and she took my temperature was 103, and she goes, "You're going to the hospital." And then I ended up being in the hospital 3 days. And I told her, I said, I see how people die from pneumonia because, man, that's the most sick I've ever felt.
Hmm.
And it just came on all out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But that whole week, I don't remember what the reason was, but I've been running on like 4 hours of sleep, 4 or 5 hours all week. I think that's what did it.
Yeah. Definitely messes with your immunity when you don't get enough sleep.
It's okay
So,
when you're at camp, but when you're actually back in the
mhm.
real world, you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah. Well, I think you helped me because I was able to kick
Well,
it
good.
quick and go on my trip. So
Yeah,
appreciate it.
no problem.
So
I'm glad you were able to get rested up. I know you get a gig like that, you got to do what you got to do to get it done, and sometimes you just overdo it.
yeah.
So
Well, that's the real world. Got to do what you got to do.
yeah,
But
well, I'm gonna go ahead and end it, and
yep.
we'll say good night to everybody who happens to watch. So Thank you
All
for
right.
tuning in. Talk to you
Yep.
later.
Yep. Talk to you later.